afternoon. Thank you for joining us for today's Seattle Maritime Career Fair. I'm Sarah Shearer. I am the Maritime and Manufacturing Advocate for the Office of Economic Development at the City of Seattle and the current co-president of the Seattle Propeller Club. The Seattle Propeller Club is the city's largest and oldest diverse maritime business association. We're proud to join in presenting this career fair with the Port of Seattle. I also want to thank the Seattle's Office of Economic Development, Washington State Ferries, the Youth Maritime Collaborative for presenting today's career fair. So today's workshop is all about showcasing the amazing shoreside and at-sea careers in the maritime industry. Did you know that the average annual salary in the maritime industry is more than $20,000 above the average wage in Washington? Today, we have 9 terrific speakers who will share with you their incredibly diverse set of opportunities for you. You'll hear about high-tech aspect of the industry, its passion for the environmental sustainability, opportunities for women and communities of color, and our commitment to family wage jobs. You'll also learn about the skills and training needed to be successful in the industry. We'll also be posting additional resources in the chat, so watch the chat. You can use the chat to ask questions. We are recording this session today, and you'll receive a link to the recording. So we're gonna get right to it. So our first speaker is Port of Seattle Commissioner Stephanie Bowman. The Port of Seattle has been a tremendous partner in the region's economic and community development. We also greatly appreciate their leadership in our region's workforce development and sponsoring the career fair today. So thank you for your leadership, Commissioner Bowman, and thank you for joining us today.
Oh, absolutely. Well, thanks, Sarah. Appreciate the introduction. It's a pleasure to be with everybody today. As Sarah said, I'm Port of Seattle Commissioner Stephanie Bowman. And before I start, one of the reasons why I am so interested in this topic, providing maritime careers for our community, I want any women that are on this call today and learning to know that you too can have a great career in the maritime industry. The Port of Seattle has been around for 110 years. In that time, I am actually only the 5th woman to have ever served on the Port Commission. And so things are changing and there's a lot of great careers out there. So for with us today, I'm really delighted to see all of you on the call to learn about the career pathways and entry points that we have in the maritime industry. Whether you're in middle school, high school, a college student, or someone who's interested in transitioning into a maritime career, there's really wonderful opportunities available right now. As Sarah said, our average salary is about $70,000 a year for entry-level positions in the maritime sector in Washington State. These are fantastic careers, not just a job, but a career where you can get great benefits and really go home at night knowing that you're contributing to our local economy. Today, you're going to hear from a wide range of maritime jobs. While some of those jobs are aboard vessels, there are no shortage of shoreside jobs that span a wide region of disciplines, anywhere from operations and engineering to human resources, accounting, security, sales, administration, etc. There is a really high demand for workers in the maritime industry, mostly because we have so many maritime workers are expected actually to retire in the next 5 or 6 years, and younger workers are needed to come in and fill those shoes. So with the industry very focused on recruitment, I know that today you're going to hear some really exciting opportunities from an incredible lineup of company representatives. These are just the top-notch representatives from around the greater Puget Sound area who have been around a long time providing these great jobs. Before we hear from them, I'm going to speak just another moment or two about the Port of Seattle's dedication to workforce development over the years. Things like this maritime career fair have ended up placing more than 800 folks in jobs. We've done more than 210 trainings, and we have hundreds of internship opportunities just at the Port of Seattle alone. In the last couple of years, we've launched, this year will be the first year of the Maritime High School that was sponsored by my colleague, Commissioner Ryan Calkins, as a really exciting opportunity for students starting at the 8th grade to learn in high school about what is available to them. As I mentioned earlier, we also have a great internship program at the Port of Seattle, where over the last 5 years, we've hired more than 600 interns from all over King County in a wide variety of jobs, not just the maritime industry, but all over the Port of Seattle. Really, our goal, though, is that we want to make sure that we're providing those pipelines for younger students to move into lifelong careers. And again, it could be aviation, maritime, construction trades, or the new green jobs of the future economy. With that, I'm ready to turn it over to our next speaker. Again, we're really pleased to be a sponsor of today's events. I hope that all of you that are on this call will share information about what you've learned today. Again, it's sort of, the maritime industry has been somewhat of a hidden resource, even though we've been in Seattle for well over 100 years. I know a lot of folks are focused on the tech industry, but if you want to work with your hands, you want to work on the water, you want to work on restoring our habitat, you want to be a part of Seattle's history and part of Seattle's future, the maritime industry is the place to be. So with that, I will turn it over to our first speaker, and thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Commissioner Bowman. Before we get to the first speaker, in addition to the internships and the new Maritime High School, I also want to mention that there are tons of really terrific maritime training resources in our region. You can go to www.youthmaritimecollaborative.org, and I'm sure, Ken, are you going to put that in the chat? And kingcountymaritime.com. Both of those have information about the maritime industry and all the different sectors and the different jobs. I also want to do a quick shout out to the Seattle Public Schools. Seattle Public Schools also has free training in careers that you're going to learn about today through the Skill Center classes. The Seattle Public Schools high school students can get free training while still in school by taking Skill Center classes. Courses like construction, careers in education, maritime, firefighting, auto tech, medical careers, video game design, and more. The Maritime Vessel Operations class is located at the Center for Wooden Boats in South Lake Union and the Seattle Maritime Academy in Ballard. During the school year, they would go for 3 periods a day, which is 2.5 hours per day. Every day, you get 3 CTE credits per year, and often other credits like math or free college credits. And this typically works out for 11th and 12th graders. And during the school year, transportation is provided. And again, all Skill Center programs are free. And we'll put those resources in the chat. They do have a summer Skills Center program that starts July 6th and goes to July 30th, and it's 11 to 3:15 each day at multiple locations. You get a half a CTE credit, snacks are provided, and all high school students can attend, and that's incoming 9th graders to 12th graders. In the summertime, unfortunately, transportation is not provided, but it is during the school year. So we'll put those resources in the chat for you so you could take a look. Now let's meet our speakers, and they're great companies to talk more about the career opportunities. Our first speaker is Mike O'Connor. He is the Director of HR and Labor Relations at Foss Maritime. So tell us a little bit about Foss, Mike.
Foss is a 132-year-old company founded in 1889 right here in Tacoma, Washington by Thea and Andrew Foss. Foss started renting out rowboats and provisions to make rowboats to get provisions to the ships out in the harbor. Since then, we have grown to become the largest tugboat on the West Coast and one of the most recognized brands in the maritime industry. We provide harbor ship assists and tanker escorts up and down the coast. Additionally, we provide maritime solutions to customers anywhere they need us. Line handling service in the Puget Sound, and we run a pilot launch service in the Columbia River. We also handle salvage and rescue tows. Most recently, the Washington State Ferry Wenatchee was undergoing sea trials and its way back into the Seattle Bainbridge rotation. During sea trials, the Wenatchee had a small fire in the engine room, and Foss was called to provide rescue and escort back to the dock and Bainbridge. Foss has operations in Alaska, Hawaii, Pacific Northwest, Columbia Snake River, San Francisco Bay Area, Long Beach. We also have office in Jacksonville and just reopened an office in Boston.
Wow, that's a lot. I want to highlight that Foss was started by Thea Foss. She was a woman and started by rowing out to the ships to give people leave from the ships. Tell us a little bit about what types of jobs and are available at your company, and maybe some of the skills and training that you're looking for.
Sure. We have many opportunities here at Foss. Marine positions, so working on the tugs or barges. Shoreside jobs, working in the office to support our crews. We have several positions, including a large number of different jobs on our tugs, in our shipyard, and the typical type positions you would see in management, like finance, operations, sales, and human resources, just to name a few.
Cool. So what advice would you give to someone who is thinking about this career?
For youth, I mean, Sarah and Stephanie, you both mentioned it. The Highline School District is opening the Maritime High School in the fall. So their students will engage in project-based learning, where they'll gain a greater awareness of career opportunities at sea and beyond. There are also plenty of other options, including Tongue Point Job Corps, where a student emerges as an AB and or a QMed. And there's, I think you both mentioned, local and national colleges and universities that offer maritime programs. Lastly, and we have plenty of people here at Foss that have done this, starting as an OS and working through, we call it a hawse pipe. We've got people in management, captains alike that have gone through that route.
And an OS means an ordinary seaman. So that's the entry level position on a boat. And you can actually work your way up. And we're going to talk a little bit later to Julie Kime, who helps teach people how to move from one level to the next, but I'm sure she'll talk about that. So how would folks find more or find out about the job openings at Foss?
Go right to our website, foss.com. You can sign up for alerts, and when positions in the location or specific job that you're looking for are posted, you'll get an alert. And also on our LinkedIn page at Foss Maritime. Both are great resources to check for job openings. Great.
Is there anything else we need to know about Foss before we move on?
Nope. Thank you for your time here, and appreciate it.
Thanks, Mike. All right. Our next speaker is Melissa Bryant. She is the Human Resource Manager at Argosy Cruises. So what does Argosy Cruises do?
Well, hi, everybody. Argosy Cruises was founded in 1949, so we've been around for 70 plus years. Originally, it was founded as the Spring Street Water Taxi Company, but now we are a tour company. So we do harbor tours all around the Puget Sound. We offer social events on boats, and we also go out to Blake Island, which is an island that's only accessible by boat. So we have the Longhouse out there, which was built in 1962 for the World's Fair. It was not built with Native American culture in mind. So we have tried to bring Native American culture to the Longhouse. And we do our Tillicum Village school program, which went virtual this year because of COVID. And we also have a cafe out there. So it's a lot of fun. So we do a lot of tourist type stuff just right here in the harbor.
So what are some of the jobs, the types of jobs that someone could look at for Argosy?
Yeah, of course. We have everything from executives, so HR, office jobs, sales, marketing, to we've got deckhands, bartenders, tour guides, so we call them narrators. We've got captains. We have servers and bartenders out on the island. We've got a gift shop clerk open. We have engineering. And then we've also got our harbor team, which is getting people onto the boats. We just also partnered with Kitsap Ferries. So we are this side of the Kitsap Ferry, getting people on the boats, making sure that everything goes smoothly with that. So we've got all kinds of jobs for people of all walks of life, whether you've been in the maritime industry or not. I myself just got into it about 8 weeks ago. So you can come from any background and we can train you. Some of the positions are obviously more specialized, but there is a place for you in the maritime industry, even if you haven't been in it.
Yeah, it seems like, Argosy is a little bit of a kinder, gentler way to ease yourself into the maritime industry.
Yeah.
What are some of the reasons that it would be great for women and people of color?
Well, as I've noticed, there are not a lot of women or people of color, at least there hasn't been historically at our company, and we are working desperately to try to fix that. So I think this industry would be great because you're gonna blaze a trail, right? You're gonna be some of the first to make waves, and I think that's really important. We are always looking for diverse candidates. We have partnered with the city of Seattle to work with their new program that's running out for displaced workers. We also are running an internship, so we've got 2 people coming out this summer from the Maritime High School. So we're trying to find people from everywhere. We post on Craigslist, Indeed, all the colleges. I've also been posting to like urban sites, urban job sites, that kind of thing. So we've got all kinds of places we're trying to pull candidates from. So I would encourage all women and people of color to please apply. We need your ideas. We need your, diversity when it comes to everything. So.
That's great. You already answered all of my questions. Is there anything else we need to know about Argosy before we move on?
No, we're ramping up for our season. We have a lot of seasonal positions and a lot of full-time positions. So we've got several open, but we are actively and aggressively hiring right now. So if you're looking for a seasonal job, if you know someone who's looking for a seasonal job, or if you're interested in one of our few full-time jobs, please visit us at argosycruises.com/employment. I will put it in the chat, but we would love to have you on board.
Awesome. Thank you, Melissa. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
So our next speaker is a captain for the Puget Sound Pilots. His name is Trevor Bozina. Is that close enough?
Yeah, you got it. I think the Z throws people off, I think. Oh, you got it.
Awesome. So what's a pilot?
So a little bit about us as pilots. There's 51 pilots here in Puget Sound, and there's a record of pilotage going back to about 1840, and then 1930s is when the first Pilotage Act was put into place. We have about 20 to 25 of us on duty at a time, and we're state and federally licensed to move basically all the container ships and cargo ships, cruise ships, tankers, that everybody sees coming in and out of Elliott Bay, up and down the Sound. We do everything from as far north as Cherry Point, up north of Bellingham to the Canadian border, all the way south to Olympia. And we move about 6,500 to 7,500 ships per year. And a lot of our pilots have come from tugboat companies like Western Towboat that Russ is going to talk about here shortly, Foss. We have pilots that have come from the Washington State Ferries. I came off of tugboats. Pilots that have come from cruise ships, container ships, tankers. And some of them have started off in the industry as ordinary seamen. And some of us have gone to maritime academies, had an interest in the in boats and the water from the time we were middle school, high school, or even younger, and worked our way up through the industry to get to where we are now. Pilots are required by Washington state law to board, I should say, vessels. So like inspected coastwise U.S. vessels or any foreign ship that is moving cargo or is engaged in trade is required by state law to have a pilot on board. And our job when we get on the ship is use our local knowledge of Puget Sound, our experience in training and ship handling, and our industry experience combined with all types of navigation on board, whether it's visual, electronic navigation, charts, to carry out our job and navigate all the ships safely in the Sound, to protect the vessel, protect cargo, protect people's lives on the water. And we navigate these ships, we dock them, we undock them, we anchor them. We basically drive them without physically driving them. it's a great job if you like driving things. Like I said, we don't physically drive the ships, but we're in command of the ship. We meet with the captain on board. We talk about the ship's particulars, and then from there, it's monitoring the ship's position in the waterways or in the sound. Like I said, we have radars, we have computers. We use our, you know, our local knowledge and visual sense of where we are. And we give commands, everything from how fast the ship's going to be going, to courses to steer, to how much rudder we're using, and talking to the tugboats to basically parallel park these ships that can range from 400 feet up to 1,200 feet. And about, you know, anywhere from 100 feet wide to 140 feet wide. So that's kind of what we do as a, you know, in day-to-day work.
Yeah. So, you know, most people think of, when they hear the word pilot, they think of somebody in an airplane, right?
Yeah.
But you guys are jumping on these ships, and then you're the advisor to the captain and kind of the specialist to know the Puget Sound, right?
Yeah, no, that's right. Yeah, we get on, we board these ships if they're coming in from sea. So they're coming in from the ocean. They could have been on a 2-week or sometimes even a 30-day trip across the ocean, bringing, I always say, whenever someone's waiting for an Amazon order, it's going to come off of a ship. So
Yeah.
90% of everything we use comes off of ships. So
So-
some of these ships, they arrive at Port Angeles, and they may not have seen someone outside of their crew for a month. And we
Yeah.
literally climb up a ladder, a rope ladder on the side of the ship, and we walk up to the bridge where it's like, that's the command station of the ship. And like Sarah said, we meet with the captain. We advise them on the best route to take, the best approaches into these docks. Some of them have never been here before. Some of them have been here often, but usually the captain's job is to deal with, you know, just his crew and his ship and that cargo on board. And it's our job to get them safely to the dock, as well as manage all the other traffic in the area to move safely through the sound.
So you climb up a ladder up the side of a ship. I'm like, how tall of a ladder?
It depends. There's regulations. It can't be any more than about 18 feet. So it's about an 18-foot ladder. We have another boat. We have 2 boats out in Port Angeles. If the ship's coming in from sea, our boats drive us out to the ship. The ship slows down, and we have great pilot boat operators. They come alongside the ship, and we climb up this ladder. It's about 18 feet. That's the longest it can be. If we have to climb up higher, there's what's called a gangway that comes down, and we climb up the ladder to this gangway and then up onto the ship, carrying just a backpack with our equipment on board.
Cool. And snacks?
Yeah, snacks. Sometimes you'll get lunch, you'll get fed on the ship, get coffee on the ship. And that's kind of a cool thing about getting on board. You get on board ships that have a diversity of crews. So, you know, all different types of meals you get served on board, which is pretty neat.
I bet. Sometimes it's probably a little bit scary, right?
Yeah, sometimes.
So what advice would you give to someone who is thinking about this career?
I would say just advice in general. Like, in order to become pilots, in Puget Sound, there's a testing program, and you need to have about 1 to 2 years as command time. So as captain's time, that either can be on a tugboat, it can be on a ship, or it can be on a ferry. So I guess getting into pilots, like, know what it is you want to do before. You know, in order to get to a captain's job, you need to be a good teammate and a good shipmate. Work well with others, take direction well when you're on board whatever boat you're working on. Work hard, ask questions, be humble. And then know what's expected of the job that you're looking to get to next. So if you're an OS, know what's expected of you as an AB. Or if you're just out of school and you're a third mate, know what's going to be expected of you as a second mate. So you can always be working to advance to the next thing. In Puget Sound, or a lot of West Coast pilotage groups, you need to have captain's time before you can apply for the exams. So just know what each level above you is going to require so you can work up to becoming a captain. And really, I think a lot of it comes down to just being a good person, being kind, being helpful, being responsible. And companies see that. They see that you work hard. They want to advance you.
So be kind and work hard.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it. Well, thank you so much, Trevor. I really appreciate your time.
Yeah.
So our next person, so we've had 3 different underway or vessel operations examples, and we're going to move to a shipyard example. So our next person is Cherie Berg. She is the Safety, Environmental, and Human Resources Manager for Pacific Fisherman Shipyard. So packfish is what most people call it, affectionately call it, and it has a really great history with lots of eclectic things. So Carrie, tell us a little bit more about it.
Well, Packfish is the Fisherman. It's a full-service shipyard here in Ballard. It was established in 1946. And we repair and service tugboats, passenger cruise, charter boats, yachts, and of course fishing vessels, including deadliest catch. So, as you say, it's a very unique shipyard because we are a small shipyard in the heart of Ballard, which is changing. As the businesses change and close, we have some of their signs, which we put up, and we try to keep the history alive and, maintain a bond with our community here.
So when you go to Packfish, the shipyard, and when you walk around, it's like a history lesson of Ballard and all the different businesses that were there. So what are the jobs? What are all the different jobs at Packfish?
Well, we are a union shop, and so we are affiliated with 5 separate unions. We have boilermakers, machinists, shipwrights, laborers, and marine electricians.
So what's a boilermaker?
Well, a boilermaker, they work on the steel, they weld, they fit, and also pipe fitters as well. So that's all the steel structural, and that's really probably the most important part of the job out there, because the boats are mainly made of steel.
But you guys are pretty unique in the fact that there's not a ton of shipyards that have shipwrights or vessel carpenters that can work on wooden hull. Is that right?
That's correct. As far as vessels such as the Virginia 5, we are still able to do some of the old work that they used to do. At one time, I think probably about 10 years ago, we had quite a lot, 12, I think, shipwrights that they were all working on the Virginia 5. And that was the most shipwrights I think we've had together in a long time. But we are still able to work on the old wooden boats. So that's really great.
Cool. So how would folks find out, or, well, actually, I'm going to back up for a second. What do you look for in new employees?
Well, we're a union shop, so when we need people, we call the union and they dispatch from their out of work list. We have 24 hours to allow them to fill the call. If they can't, we can interview from our applications we have on file. And typically we're looking for journey level employees. They're the most skilled craft workers in the industry. And that's during busy times and depending on the type of work. We do hire helper or mechanic level employees with little to no experience. And then they join the union. They have 30 days to join. So we look for employees that know the purpose of the industry and that they choose it as a career. We find sometimes if someone doesn't really know why they chose the industry and they kind of just come in not really knowing much about it, they're more likely to quit and do something completely different as far as a job. So to choose it as a career and a purpose and a preference is really helpful.
We do have a question for Ree. Any use for marine or mechanical engineers at Packfish?
No, we do have machinists, but we do not have any engineers as such. We do not build here. We do repair, so we don't have any engineers, no.
Okay, great. So how would folks find out about the job? Oh, we already talked about that. Sorry. Well, thank you very much, Cherie. Is there anything else that people need to know about Packfish?
Well, the industry really needs some new people, and if you're passionate about the future of the industry, which I think everyone who works in it, we are. The maritime industry, it is transportation, international shipping, fishing, recreational, and it's important to feel this is important, and that's what makes it so to be part of making working in the industry and making this happen. The maritime industry is a crucial part of our society, and it's been around for centuries. So the industry is growing and changing, becoming more modern and efficient with technology, and it really is a source of excellent employment and career opportunities.
Awesome, thank you. It is for sure a good source of a really good living wage and careers that there's upward mobility because there's a lot of people retiring. So thank you.
Yes, thank you.
So our next speaker is someone who is adjacent to Packfish, literally across the water, adjacent to Packfish. Delmis Whitaker is the Senior Manager of Fishing and Commercial Vessels at the Port of Seattle. Hi, Delmis.
Hi, Sarah. How are you?
I'm well.
Great. Thanks for having me today.
Well, tell us a little bit about the Port of Seattle and Fisherman's Terminal.
Sure. As Sarah pointed out, I'm the Senior Manager for Fisherman's Terminal, which is the port's oldest property that was founded in 1914. We are the home of the North Pacific Fishing Fleet, which the majority of your small independent fishermen, they call Fisherman's Terminal home. Really proud of that opportunity. In addition to that, I also manage the Salmon Bay Marina, which is one of our newest properties, which is a 170 slip recreational port, and also the Maritime Industrial Center, which is another of our properties that has a couple of commercial docks that we can bring some of our larger, over just under 200-foot vessels to that dock to provide moorage for that facility. And so we have kind of a diverse mission there at those three properties.
So what are the jobs at Fisherman's Terminal that people could be looking for?
Well, I get the opportunity and the privilege to manage our waterside type operation and at the maritime side, which is I have about 5 positions that I have that are available. That's our entry level position being our harbor operations specialist. We also have a harbor operations, a moorage coordinator that manages the moorage at our docks. We also have a senior facilities coordinator that helps to coordinate with our marine maintenance team with regards to repairs, upkeep, and maintenance on our docks and landside buildings. I also have a leadership team, which is our harbor operations supervisor that manages that team. Also, I have a harbor operations business manager that deals with our customers, and I mean deals intimately with our customers to be able to, Ray. So Ray's dealing, intimately with our folks to make sure they're taken care of. And he's also supported by a harbor operations customer service specialist who is that she's the face of the organization as pre-COVID, as folks come through the door, they're meeting with her to be able to take care of their needs on a one-on-one basis. So pretty dynamic crew.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Lots of good stuff. So why do you think the maritime industry, and potentially particularly the port, but maritime industry in general is good for women and people of color to be looking at?
Well, I will say, and I know we have Commissioner Bowman's on the line, and we have worked aggressively as an organization to raise our IQ when it comes to equity, diversity, and inclusion in our organization through the work of our commissioners and our executive director, Steve Metrick. We've established the Office of Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion, headed by Bukler Geshar, who's taking care of making sure that we're finding those opportunities and meeting the needs of the community in which we represent. And so from the maritime side, we're definitely always working to find those opportunities for equity and finding where we may be falling a little bit short. And so just like some of the other guests that you have here, I am so sorry about that. That some of the oh, let me take care of that.
Just gave us an opportunity to see a beautiful shot of Fisherman's Terminal.
Oh, geez, yes. Yes. So yeah, I think that we're working real hard to make sure that we're doing our part to be able to fill those voids. And I know that we're doing a lot of outreach and other and obviously in my role, I get to communicate with a lot of the industry professionals, the maritime industry professionals, whether it be in the fishing industry or with those industries that support the maritime complex at which Fisherman's Terminal sits in. And so we do our best to figure out how we can raise that IQ of meeting some of those or filling some of those voids that we may be missing.
So why have you found yourself passionate about the maritime industry and chosen this? Because you have a varied career.
Yeah, well, I was just, Trevor was giving me, making me get a little melancholy here. I'm a retired naval officer. I was a ship handler on board an aircraft carrier, the Abraham Lincoln. So I had the pleasure of having folks like Trevor, the pilots, come on board and help me navigate the sound and make good decisions on behalf of the captain while I was transiting to the Puget Sound Naval Shipyard or just getting back home to Everett. And so it was, yeah, you're definitely sending me down memory lane. But I had the privilege of not only when I retired from the military, I actually worked at the airport, which everybody, gets pretty excited about the airport and airplanes. But I was given the unique pleasure of coming back to the maritime industry and coming to Fisherman's Terminal. I reestablished my maritime roots, and through working with folks like the Propeller Club and other organizations, I know that I have I am extremely fortunate to work around this industry and know how vital it is. And Trevor talks about the Amazon packages; they don't get here on their own. And we help get it there, and we help put fish on the folks' plates, and we do some amazing things in this industry that I think is incredibly vital to this region.
Thank you, Delmis. Always a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you very much, Sarah.
All right. Earlier it was mentioned that you can, once you work on a boat, that you can move up And one of the ways to do that is to get training and Coast Guard approved training. The U.S. Coast Guard are the people that regulate the maritime industry and make sure that we follow all the rules. And the woman that I'm about to introduce knows all about this because she owns a maritime training company called Compass Courses. And her name is Julie Kime.
Hello there. Hi, Sarah.
Good to see
Hi,
you.
everybody. Boy, it's been a long time since I've seen some of those faces.
I know. So tell us a little bit about what Compass Courses does.
Sure, you bet. So I call myself a lower level licensing school. I'm going on 20 years this year. And we're a vocational school with the state. So most of my classes are that entry level where they at least have 360 days to get their AB. And they have to have lifeboatmen to get that. I'm one of 3 private schools in the United States that has their own gravity davit here on the property, and basic safety training, which, we just got done doing a class and the majority of them were under 25. So that's a good sign. Usually that class brings in an average age of about 37. So we're starting to track that the last couple of years of where they're coming from. And I started the school with a couple friends of mine and bought them out, and it's been me for a while, and started with 1 course, and now I have 29, which is pretty cool. So That's still going strong.
Huge accomplishment.
Yes, thank you.
So what types of jobs do you have at your company?
Well, the number one job is obviously instructors. I get a lot of guys that want to teach. They out of 29 courses, you can kind of pick which ones you want, and that's how I do it. If they're passionate about an AB or tankerman or leadership, I kind of guide them, in that direction. I have rescue swimmers, I have laborers that help out with all the equipment that we do. I have an admin staff. I've been very fortunate to have people stay with me for a long period of time. And but always instructors. I try to have a good pool of people to teach.
So what advice would you give someone who is thinking about this career? I mean, you started out in passenger vessels and then made your way into training. What do you think?
Yeah, it's changed for me over the years. One, I've gotten more exposed to the industry around the world. And so, when a young kid comes up to me and says, I think I want to work on the water, but I'm not sure where to start. There's a plethora of information. You can Google it, but we can also talk about the type of vessels just locally here in Puget Sound. And if somebody wants to come home at night, how does that change their outlook on what jobs they want? It used to be that a mariner would go out and be gone for months at a time. And that's not true. Most people want to come home at night or not have such a rough schedule. And I think a lot of companies that has changed where they can come home.
Cool. So why do you think this industry is a great opportunity for women?
Well, I would like to rephrase that question.
Or do you?
Just for 20 years, maybe because I'm a woman that I own a company that I should know that answer. But 10% probably of the people that come here are women, and they're focused. They've got a career and they know what they're doing. But I think it's a great opportunity for humans to work in. I think it's getting safer. Companies are getting smarter about their training, equipment, and I've seen that change. Yeah. So I'm going to rephrase that question.
All right. It's good for all humans.
Yes.
Okay. So why, you've had this company for 20 years, but then you also worked before that. So what gives you the passion to continue and be in the maritime industry and serve so many people to do better and move up in the maritime industry?
Yeah, I'd like to say it has a lot to do with my passion about life in general and how I wake up in the morning and I have a choice to do the right thing. I think I exude that in my instructors, and that is what students feel like when they get here. And so that's important to me, that us as trainers, are able to teach the courses that we do in a way that people are passionate about the subject matter and not just checking off a box. In the past 5 years, we're getting people coming back in as refreshers and revalidation. And that was what I noticed right away, is that they were just checking off a box, and I had to change that within house. And so I think my experience I've coached many sports, I've been an athlete, and I think that I transferred that into a boss, being a good boss, being a good leader. And I think the last 20 years, it shows. I mean, the word of mouth is what keeps my doors open. Not any advertising really in magazines anymore. It's word of mouth. And when people say Compass courses, they think of the experience that they had here, and the people who ask about it are excited to be here. So that's important to me.
Yeah. And I've always, you brought up sports, and I've always thought that people who play sports or team sports would probably really be good as a mariner or in the maritime industry, because there's so much teamwork involved when you're on a ship. So that's good reminder for me.
Yeah, definitely.
You can also do it if you don't play sports, but if you have that teamwork minded idea and can work with other people, that's one of the things that Trevor, I think, said is, you really have to be able to get along with people. So.
Yeah, I always say, you start out on the vessel and it's, 200 feet long. And then in a week, it's about 100 feet. And another week, it's 25 feet. And you're looking at the same people, and they stink, and they, make jokes and do things you don't really appreciate, but you have to work with them. And, when things go bad, you have to rely on them, and you have to rely on your training. And so, it's an interesting industry, really. And it's fun to talk about to people who don't know anything about it, especially kids.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Julie. It's always great to talk to you, and I miss seeing your face.
Yeah, yours too. Bye, everybody.
Okay. Our next speaker is Russ Shrewsbury, and he is the owner, or one of the owners, of Western Towboat.
Hey, how are we doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm tired. I was up driving a tugboat all last night.
Oh, well, thank you so much for showing up. You guys are good about always showing up. So tell us about Western Towboat and what you do, and what's your story, man?
Western Towboat. We were started in 1948 by my grandfather, and we operate tugs and barges around the Pacific Northwest. Well, basically all over the world. We'll go anywhere. And on top of that, we build and maintain our fleet right here in Ballard at our shipyard. I'm third generation, and I have a brother that's also, I'm a captain. My father's a captain. He's still here, and my brother's a captain. My sister, she works with us in the office here. So it's a family-run business, and we specialize in a whole bunch of different things.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit. You said you've got vessel jobs. You guys actually build your own ships and do most of your own maintenance. So tell us about the jobs you have at your company.
Sure. So the jobs we have right now are really anything. When you're building a vessel, you need carpenters, you need steel fitters, welders. We have aluminum welders, we have electricians, we have guys that specialize in engine maintenance and repair. We have guys that fuel the boats and do all the lubricants on the boats and help maintain these vessels when they come and go. And then on the boats itself, we have cooks, deckhands, captains, mates. And what we do is we move freight barges all over the place, back and forth to Alaska, primarily is our main business. And then a lot of aggregate and gravel work around Puget Sound and ship assist and harbor barge moving. But there's all sorts of opportunities for these types of blue collar jobs with us. Machinist, you name it. That's kind of the fun thing about designing and building boats here. And we get to try new things, and we're always looking for people with great ideas and high aptitude and skill level that want to get their hands dirty and get to work.
And I do have to say that your boats are the cleanest boats. Your engine rooms, you can eat off the deck plates in the engine room.
Yes, we are always looking for people that like to polish aluminum and stainless steel.
It's really, really clean. And being third generation and knowing a lot about this and kind of having it probably be in just about every aspect of your life, what advice would you give someone who's thinking about a career in this industry?
Well, if you're from the Pacific Northwest, you live in the Mecca of maritime. You have so many great schools right at your fingertips, whether it's Seattle Maritime Academy, Julie School, Ballard High School. I don't know if they still have the Maritime, and then the new Maritime High School. The opportunities are out there. And I always tell people there's the old adage of a pier head jump. If you apply to a business and they call you and they need you to go that day, you go that day. You got to get your foot in the door. Persistence is key. The people that just apply once, if you don't hear back, well, the company may not be busy that week or that month, but if you keep at it, you will find a job. There's always opportunities. Our business changes every day. One day we don't have as much work, and the next day the phone rings and we sent 4 boats out yesterday afternoon in a hurry because we're busy. You have to really be persistent, and hard work goes a long way.
Cool. Well, how would people find out about the job openings at Western?
For Western Towboat, we don't really advertise job openings, just because we're always really looking for great people. If there's someone really stands out, we'll make a position. The best way is to follow our social media pages on Instagram or Facebook, and also just apply online at resume@westerntowboat.com.
Awesome. I love it. I love the highlight of persistence. I think that's probably one of the keys is to be flexible and persistent.
It's a big thing. And the other thing I'll mention about the future is this Maritime High School is going to be a pretty cool thing for people that are interested. These course curriculum is designed by people that actually work in this industry. And these are the things that we are looking for. So it's something that at your fingertips that people should take advantage of.
Yeah. Yeah. The Maritime High School, the Vessel Operations Skills Center program, Ballard High School still has a little bit of a program. So, and there's lots of different organizations like Sound Experience and Salish Sea Expedition and Sail Seattle and all kinds of places where you can just get a little bit of awareness and exposure to the industry.
Definitely. Definitely.
Cool. Thanks, Russ.
Thank you.
So our next person is, most of you will know the Washington State Ferries by the fact that they are in every movie or every TV show about Seattle, because they're the big green and white ferries. But I'm sure Renee will tell you this, but this is one of the largest ferry systems in the United States and like the 3rd largest in the world or something. But I'm going to invite Renee Mason. She is the Washington State Ferries recruiter to come on camera.
Okay, can you see me? I think you can. Hi, thank you. Yeah, I'm Renee Mason. I'm Washington State Ferries recruiter. And like Sarah said, we are the largest ferry systems in the United States, where we actually carry nearly 25 million people a year throughout some of the most, we like to say, the majestic scenery in the world. Washington State Ferries links the communities on both sides of the Puget Sound with the San Juan Islands and internationally to Sydney, British Columbia. We also employ more than 1,800 employees throughout the Puget Sound on vessels, terminals, at our Eagle Harbor maintenance facility, and at the headquarters in Seattle.
So in all those different jobs, it sounds like you've got some shoreside management jobs and some maintenance jobs and on-vessel jobs. I guess actually one of my questions would be, are the ferries, even with COVID, still doing, do they still have like the galleys, the food on board? So are there food servers?
The galleys are actually sourced out. Those are through Center Plate.
Okay.
So to be honest with you, I don't know
you don't
that. I don't know that answer.
All right.
But the different types of jobs that we have
Mhm.
are numerous. As you said, we have all the different facilities. It takes more than just the deckhands and the terminal attendants to run the ferries. We have positions ranging from accounting services to warehousing, all the different mechanical trades, the boiler makers, the pipe fitters, the locksmiths. We have positions in the engineering designs, civil engineering, dispatching, along with our safety positions. Those are just a few of the different types of positions that we have. So there's numerous different areas that you can go to within Washington State Ferries. And we believe that our employees make a positive difference each and every day and the quality of life for our citizens that live and travel through the state of Washington. So it's not just the ferries on the boats, but it is much more than that to be a part of Washington State Ferries.
Yeah. So what kind of characteristics, I mean, there's, with all those different kinds of jobs, you can't really like list all the different skills, but what are the characteristics of the people that would make a really good Washington State Ferries employee? Well,
I would say customer service is one of our main aspects because we deal with so many different customer-based people or individuals. Not only that, we're looking for individuals who are dependable, energetic, and has an initiative, because if, you know, we need people who are going to be there so that we can sail our ferries, sail our vessels.
And these jobs on the ferries are union jobs, correct? Right?
Well, they are union. However, you're not required to be part of the union. So they are union jobs, but you're not required to be a part of the union.
Okay.
And different positions are union representative and different positions are not. So it just kind of depends on the position.
Okay, great. So how can folks find out about the job openings at Washington State Ferries?
All of our job openings, all of our applications and job postings are posted on our wash.jobs.com website. With that being said, I also like to say that if you're going on there and you don't see any job openings at this time, you can sign up for job alerts so that it'll alert you when a position opens up that you may be interested in. It'll send you out an email, which is really helpful, kind of keeps, so you don't have to keep going on every day, but there are those job alerts that you can send out. I highly encourage anybody to do that with our job openings.
Great. Yeah, that's super helpful. Cool. Thank you, Renee.
You're welcome. I kind of wanted just to highlight one little thing, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
So one of the things that I'd like to highlight is that our Washington State Ferries is a very diverse hiring. We do a lot of diversity in our hiring. We're really, we strive to have, to represent the public. And one of the things that I really liked about, or recently, is that one of our examples is our new Muckatil terminal project, that we had more than 60 women in key roles, including many female leads with our construction contractors. And I think that that's really important to highlight that of our diversity. And also we have an organization, there's an organization called Women in Transportation that currently has scholarships available. So if you're currently going to school and you're looking for some help and supporting to help pay for that school, check them out for those scholarships.
All right, Women in Transportation.
Women in Transportation.
Awesome. Well, thank you. And thank you for highlighting that. That's great. I'm glad that the ferries are pushing that, particularly in their construction projects. So that's great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And a huge thanks to Commissioner Bowman and all of the speakers. I just want to highlight, I took a few notes of what people said, and the maritime industry, according to these speakers, are looking for people that are kind, team-oriented, hard workers, skilled, passionate, persistent, flexible, customer service oriented, dependable, and people that have initiative. So if that's you, please check out the maritime industry. This does conclude today's fair. I want to thank you for taking the time to attend. Special thanks to our sponsors, the Seattle Propeller Club, the Port of Seattle, City of Seattle's Office of Economic Development, the Washington State Ferries, and the Youth Maritime Collaborative. We look forward to seeing you in the future in the maritime industry. Thank you so much.